I just kind of put together a little bit of a presentation for you guys. The EMS folks and the hazmat folks just thought it'd be a good idea in light of the current situation, just to kind of put together a little bit of a refresher on donning and doffing and some of the PPE that we have available to us that Supervisor Dawson and Hunt and all the EMS folks have been talking about. Just kind of go over a little bit of some of the pros and cons and stuff, and when you should be utilizing the different parts of the PPE. First, start off with the masks that we are recommending to everybody use are the N95s. We are in the process of getting brown paper bags for everybody to store these in. Please do not store these into a plastic bag. They have an electric charge onto them, and you'll render these a little less effective if you do start putting these into plastic bags. So we are in the process of getting brown paper bags for you to put each individually to put these in with your name on it. The N95s, remember, we can use them up to 5 times. If it's not so close proximity contact with somebody, but if you go into a contact of any sort of confirmed COVID call, we're just going to go ahead and discard the N95s. Next level up on the protection is going to be our full mask with APRs. The V-bar with APRs are going to be obviously connected into your mask, and this will be the golden standard for any sort of procedure, CPR, that we'll be doing, anything that can be aerosolized. Bagging, anything of that nature. So this is going to be the go-to PPE for you during this time frame. These, just clarification, these APRs will filter 99.97% of everything that is in the air, and you might start to feel a little bit additional resistance, and that's just that filter filtering more and more of the contaminants in the air. Perfectly safe. These are going to be long-lasting, multiple use. The only decon that we need to do on these APRs is around the outside, as well as the V-bar dog bone itself. To keep the life expectancy and the lifespan of these APRs to maximize that, we need to start storing these inside of a Ziploc baggie. The biggest thing with these is oxygen is kind of the enemy with these as far as the life expectancy. So we just want to keep the carbon in here away from the oxygen to maximize the lifespan of the APRs. Next, we're just going to quickly go over the suits, the different types of PPEs. I'm going to go up in grade. So the first one we have some people refer to it as the see-through suit, or just kind of a spit suit kind of a thing. This thing is this is total protection for you at this point in time. If you have any other additional questions, please give any one of the EMS supervisors a call. Right now, as of this date, we know that the virus is not airborne, so any sort of spit particles, this will block 100% of that. And we'll go over decon procedures for this a little bit later. So this will be, if you have these are 100% okay to use as PPE protection. Moving up is going to be a Tyvek suit. It's going to be the white ones with a little bit of a sheen on them. This one's actually kind of that we can decon actually with bleach and that sort of thing. This is a little bit the next level up. It's a little bit thicker, and if you're not in an environment where you have sludge or aerosolized body fluids or anything like that onto you, this one can be deconned and reused. Obviously, with any piece of equipment, if this comes in contact with a confirmed COVID-19 person, or you get any sort of bodily fluids on you, discard it immediately upon decon. The highest grade suit, which we at some point in time, as supplies dwindle, may be forced into, will be the CPF-3 suits. The CPF-3 suits are definitely reusable. These suits are chemical suits up until the first time we decon them. As soon as we decon these once, these are no longer a chemical suit, and they are now become a body barrier protection that can be used multiple times. Please check, once we start using these multiple times, please start checking your PPE at the beginning of your shift. Make sure that the that the suit itself still has its integrity. So for this part of it, we're going to kind of go over the decon procedures and setting up hot zones, warm zones, some of the things that we've learned just in the first couple of days here over the last 26th, 27th of March. And hopefully these things will kind of evolve and we'll be able to get you more details after, the next few days. Talking about warm zones, hot zones, some of the things that we've come up with, whether it be coming out of a nursing home, whether it be coming out of a house, is setting those zones up so we don't have people walking in and out and contaminating, cross-contamination of everybody. So easy thing to do is have the engineer throw out a couple of cones. Here are a couple of cones that are marking the hot zone. Whether that be in a house, the house itself is a hot zone, the driveway is the warm zone, and the street is the cold zone, or in a nursing home setting, if the inside the nursing home is the hot zone, as soon as you come out onto the sidewalk is the warm zone, and then however far off you want to set your cold zone, you can set your cold zone. But really make sure, it's always helpful to have some sort of visual aid to remind people in case they decide they're distracted and they look down and realize that they're crossing cones. They maybe think a little bit before they start crossing those cones. So that discipline is going to start really needing to be reminded to people. As soon as we do that, there's a couple of different things that we've learned so far is that how to kind of divide things up, divide and conquer, depending on how we're going to either transport or call the person there on the scene. If it's calling the person on the scene, at this point, we've taken 2 people from the ambulance, dressed them in full PPE, as well as the paramedic or firefighter in the back of the engine, send them in, we'll say to a nursing home scenario. They go inside, decide that they're going to call the patient, but they've been contaminated. That engineer at that point in time will begin to set up this decon process, setting up a hose from the engine out of the decon buckets from our structure fires, as well as getting out bio bags, gloves, bleach bottles, and those kind of things that you'll need, that you'll see here for decon purposes. If it's a scenario where we're going to transport, that engineer we've so far to date have dubbed as the person who's going to drive that medic unit, because they are the person who isn't contaminated and isn't in a suit and can just jump into the front of the medic unit once that patient is loaded up, and they can drive them to the hospital. So at this point in time, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate just real quickly kind of the decon procedures as if we terminated a call on scene and we need to decon our folks on scene. Obviously, you'll need to kind of be flexible with some of these ideas and suggestions as you transport to a hospital and figure out how to do this kind of decon, same kind of scenario at the hospital, in the bay, whatever you need to do. Just to make sure we keep the contamination away from our people and away from our houses. So go ahead and come on up. So Woody's going to be our valet and our decon guy. He will be dressed in PPE as well as a APR respirator, because he's going to be spraying down our contaminated person, Mr. Kimsel over here. So first thing he's going to do is he's going to take our bleach solution. That'll be on every medic unit and every engine. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray him top to bottom. Underneath his armpits, every little nick, crack, cranny, everything like that. Boots, gloves, everything. Careful not to spray directly into the APR. The reason why we start with the bleach first is the bleach, from the information we know now, it takes about 4 minutes for the bleach to start breaking down and killing the virus. As soon as he's done that 4 minutes, he's going to come take our hose from our engine, and he's going to wash down this person, Mr. Kimsel. He's going to wash him down in the hot zone, or kind of in the hot warm zone. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring him into the warm zone. And at this point in time, Woody is going to start to undress Kimsel here. So we're going to start off with unzipping the front so we can totally roll this out. Again, Woody has got a full face piece and APR on. He's gloved up. He's got his own PPE on to stop cross-contamination. At this point in time, he's going to start at the top, and he's going to work his way down. We're going to start rolling the suit inside out. Bald guys don't have to worry about their hair getting caught. At this point in time, he's going to take off the tape on the gloves. One key thing is when you're valeting somebody to go into an environment, making sure on the duct tape that you leave a tab. That way, if in a case of an emergency or just help out the decon process, that duct tape can easily come off. Everything is going to be put into a red bag or a trash bag off of our decon buckets that is going to be standing by right next to the person being deconned. Now just remember, as soon as that suit gets turned inside out, everything underneath the suit is going to be that clean zone. It's going to be clean, non-contaminated. So you can touch anywhere in the white. At this point in time, once he gets out of the boots, obviously he's going to kick off his shoes, his boots. Most people will be wearing their station boots. At this point, it's kind of the process we have set up, and will need to be deconned as well. Again, simple bleach solution at 4 minutes will kill any sort of bacteria, or any sort of virus particles on top of that footwear. At this point in time, Kimsel is going to remove his own gloves, turning them inside out, putting them into the trash bag, and then placing fresh gloves on to remove his respirator. So we're taking that off from the back forward. That keeps the contaminants falling forward instead of coming back off, because we know that that virus didn't go anywhere. It could still be sitting on top of his mask. In theory, it could be hiding somewhere. So we want to just take that extra step to pull that away from our face. Okay. So he's going to set that down for additional decon. At this point in time, he's going to take a wipe to clean off around his face. Take off his gloves, go around his face, clean off behind his ears, get all in his neck, that kind of stuff. At this point in time, Kimsel is now deconned. We'll talk about how to decon your mask and your APRs. All you need to do is take either bleach solution with a rag, wipe it over it, preferably any sort of sandy cloth that is approved. If you need questions, ask one of your SCBA folks, and go over the mask inside and out, around the APRs. Take off your V-bar and use the solution that we use on the MMRs and the regulators to spray down and to make sure this is clean for the next person to use. Just real quickly, kind of some lessons learned today is one big thing. The extra hands really helped out today. Today we had a scene kind of develop rather rapidly on us. Went from just kind of a lift assist, sick party to a full-blown core, and we called for an additional engine to help out with that. With that, we were able to take those extra people, and have them start deconning equipment as it came out of the house, and really helped free up and get everybody back into service a lot quicker. Last thing to talk about, we're still not quite sure what we're doing with disposal of all of the equipment at this point in time. On scene, take those trash bags that you have, zip tie them shut, and then bring them back to your station. At this point in time, we're putting them in our red bio boxes, trash cans, and then and at this point in time, that's kind of the direction we're going. Some of the other things, I guess the key things to really remember and think about is protect yourselves, maintain discipline, and really make sure that you're watching out for everybody. Maintain that, protect yourselves with using those APRs and those full face pieces as often as you can, as well as maintaining that discipline of staying in those hot zone, warm zones, and really just kind of watching out for everybody, making sure everybody's staying where they need to be staying, whether it be outside the cold zone or helping out, deconning, and those kind of things. Thanks everybody for your attention. Stay safe. If you have any questions, feel free to call any one of your EMS supervisors, and have a good day.